دير كايلمور هو عبارة عن قلعة كبيرة على ضفاف البحيرة تعود للقرن التاسع عشر في قلب كونيمارا في ايرلندا وتحيط به الجبال. كان يعتبر من أهم القصور الفاخرة الكاملة مع حدائق مسورة واسعة. بنى ميتشل هنري هذا القصر في العام 1867 وكان يقطن فيه وزوجته مارغريت وأطفالهما التسعة الذين كانوا يتمتعون بطفولة تشبه القصص الخيالية. فارقت أمهم الحياة في عمر مبكر، وعلى الرغم من بقاء ميتشل لمدة 30 سنة أخرى على قيد الحياة إلا أنه لم يتزوج مرة ثانية، وعانى بعدها من ضيق مادي شديد وأوقات اقتصادية صعبة، فقام ببيع قصره إلى دوق ودوقة مانشستر ويدعى هنري زيمرمان، متمتعين بأسلوب حياة فاخر حينها، إلى أن حطت الحرب العالمية الأولى رحالها في البلاد، فانتقلت ملكية القصر إلى راهبات البنديكتان اللواتي نزحن من ديرهم في إبريس خلال تلك الحقبة، واشترينا القصر في العام 1920 وحولناه إلى دير خاص بهن.
Well, my name is Sister Maura Hickey, and I'm a Benedictine nun, and I was born in Ireland, Dublin, but I entered a Benedictine monastery in Germany. But because I was Irish, I knew Kylemore from childhood, and after many years in my community in Germany, I came because Kylemore was going through big changes, and the sisters needed some support, advice, and I've been here for the past 10 years. And I'll tell you a bit about the history of this house, and then I'll tell you about our community, how we came here and what we're doing here, what we hope for the future. Well, this house was built in the late in the 19th century, around 1870, 1868, and he was a very good man. He used his wealth to help the area here, giving employment to people and improving their standard of living. He built a little school for the Catholic children, although he wasn't a Catholic himself. But the place got a reputation for not exploiting the people, serving the people here, doing what was possible to help them. Well, he lost all his wealth, and his wife died young, and there were tragedies in the family, and he had to sell it and leave. And then another wealthy family was here for about 10 years, but they weren't able to pay the expense of keeping going, so they lost it and left, and the house was empty. But it had left this tradition behind that good people had been living there, doing good to the area.
وبعد فترة من الزمن فتحت الراهبات أبواب القصر، فحولنه إلى مدرسة يومية للفتيات من أبناء المنطقة والجوار، ومدرسة داخلية دولية، ودار للضيافة، فضلا عن تكريس أنفسهن لحياة الصلاة والعمل الجاد. دير كايلمور هو الوجهة المثالية في أي وقت من السنة لتمضية يوم من العمر، ويعد يوم الأحلام. يقع على بعد حوالي ساعة واحدة في السيارة من مدينة غولواي السياحية، كما أنه أحد أكبر أمكنة الجذب السياحي في غرب إيرلندا.
We are a community of Irish Benedictines. We were founded in the middle of the 17th century. 1665 is the official year, and that was at a time when in Ireland the Catholic religion was being persecuted, and people weren't allowed to practice the religion or own property or teach, have any education, and many families who were able to afford it were going into exile in the north of Europe. And quite a few were in the Low Countries, Holland and Belgium. And there were a group, there were people from England in the same position, Catholics who were leaving England. And a group of women among those felt themselves called to the vocation of educating the children of the refugees, Irish refugees in Belgium. So they made a foundation, first of all, in Brussels, and from that community, the order spread, and there are several schools. And one of those foundations was in the city of Ypres, which was very famous in the First World War because that was one of the first cities that was destroyed in 1914. And there were about 7 communities, 6 of them had all the English nuns, and one convent, the one in Ypres, had the Irish nuns there. So the monastery was destroyed in 1914, and the nuns had to flee, the refugees. They spent some time in England. There were about 20 of them. They didn't have any proper home, and they were living in different places. And they had hoped to go back to Belgium when the war was over, but then they decided, when the war went on too long, they wouldn't go back. They would go back home to Ireland, where their ancestors had come from 200 years before, 300 years before, nearly. And so they came back to Ireland. And I'm cutting the story short because there's a lot of detail, but they left Ypres in 1914, and they were wandering around, experimenting until 1920. And at that point, this house was up for sale. Nobody was interested in buying it because it was so difficult to look after it, maintain it. And Ireland was in a politically not very good situation at the time. So with the help of some friends and borrowing money, they bought the property and moved in 1920. And they wanted to try to continue their mission of educating girls. In Belgium, they had educated the daughters of the Irish refugees, and they were back here now, but there was a need for girls to be educated in Connemara, so they took that up. And they developed a boarding school here. And after a couple of years boarding school, they took in day pupils from the area. And that continued from 1920 until 2010. And it was a very good, successful school. They believed in, this is the Benedictine tradition, education of the whole person, not just the head and the brain for passing exams, but whatever gifts the girls had were cultivated, and they were greatly encouraged to be good and kind to each other and build community. And I have the impression that it was a very happy school, as schools go. But after the community grew here from about 20 to about 40, and in the middle of the 20th century, the numbers started to go down, community got smaller, and no new people came to join, and it was difficult to keep the school going, and in 2010 the school had to be closed. And in the meantime, the tourist industry was developing in this part of Ireland. We joined the European community, common market it was at that time, and the wealthier countries started helping us to build up industries here, and there was money invested in developing tourism in the west of Ireland. And because this is such a beautiful place, beautiful landscape, and it's really very beautiful if you're here any length of time. People are moved by it and experience peace, and hearts are touched, and they want to stay, want to pray, want to talk to somebody about God. And although many people come who aren't religious at all, they just want to visit a nice place. But the numbers of people coming to visit the place was increasing, so the nuns decided we must offer them a cup of tea, because that's part of the monastic hospitality, that people come, you welcome them and give them something. So a little cafe developed, and then people wanted some souvenirs, and they opened a little shop, and they just grew and grew from year to year. I don't know if you've been in the shop or the restaurant here. Well, you'll be seeing them afterwards. But it was a very successful growth of a tourist business that happened here. And Kylemore became one of the important tourist destinations in Ireland, especially here in the west of Ireland. And so when the nuns closed the school, they had no education mission except for one teacher who teaches music. And she has still continued teaching music to the local children even since the school was closed. But the rest of the sisters were close to retiring age and but still interested in education, but there was no school here. And there was a big decision-making progress. What are we going to do? Are we going to stay here? Is there a mission for us here? You don't really think of tourism as a mission for Benedictine nuns. And or is there anything we can do for education here or to help the region economically, because this place had become one of the economical big factors in the local economy here. We employ 150 people in summer, the biggest employer here in this part of Connemara. So we were deciding, should we sell the place, move somewhere else and see what mission we have somewhere else, or is there still a mission for us at Kylemore? So we prayed and asked the Lord to guide us and show us, and the result was that we decided to stay here. And we had lots of empty rooms now because the school was closed. Look for people who would be interested in using those rooms for education and Christian education, even if we couldn't run the school. And we decided in the second place we would renew our own spiritual monastic life. And part of that plan was to build a small monastery for the nuns, not a big castle where you get lost in it and people wanting to visit it all the time, but something smaller and simpler. And the third one was that we wanted to develop more the spiritual elements of tourism, so that people who would come here we would be trying to help them to open their minds for the presence of God here, and they would find a community that is practicing Christian faith and celebrating Christian liturgy, and that would be our mission for the future. This spiritual tourism, and we were looking for people, educational groups or colleges that might want to use the empty rooms that we now had. So we set out. There was a big adventure. We had this great idea and plan, and we had prayed a lot and believed God would lead us, but we didn't know what was going to happen. But soon we started getting in touch with American colleges that wanted to send groups for study abroad to here in the summer. That would be groups of American undergraduates of Irish descent, and they want to come back to the home of their grandparents and get to know Ireland, Irish culture and history. So for a couple of years we had groups from American universities coming in the summer, and then we met some people from the Catholic University of Notre Dame in Indiana.
كان دير كايلمور مكتفيا ذاتيا بسبب المزرعة والحدائق المحيطة، ولكن بعيدا عن ضوضاء الحياة. كانت الراهبات غارقات في العمل الشاق والتقشف والجد، ويبدو ذلك جليا بحيث أظهرت الراهبات جمال وهدوء هذا المكان الفريد الذي اختزن فيه العيش والتعلم والعمل والصلاة.
The nuns' chapel used to be in a tower up here, very inaccessible for visitors. People would be asking us, we thought we were coming to a monastery, but where is the church and where can you pray? And we decided to convert the gym of the school, which is on the ground floor. That's where we will be going to Mass. We converted that into a church so that people, as soon as they're coming into Kylemore, can go into the church, pray quietly or read some literature or go to Mass or join us at the Divine Office. And the students from Notre Dame use it, and there are all kinds of connections building up because of that. And we have made plans to build a new monastery on a piece of land just beside this church in the gym, and we're hoping that that will happen, start building by the end of this year, and that we will be getting more people to come and join the community. We couldn't ask people to up to now because we haven't had proper accommodation for the last 10 years at least, and we want to develop here with all there's huge potential here waiting to be developed, and it will take much longer than just our little community as we are at the moment. It will go on for years. We would like to see it becoming a centre of faith and Christian life in this part of Connemara, Galway, where people can come. We'll have lecture courses or retreats, and people coming to make retreats just on their own or retreats in a group. Meditation, prayer, and our own liturgy will be at the centre of the attraction. And, Ireland has gone through a very difficult time as far as faith and the church is concerned, and we feel that we are being called to be a place that will invite and gather people who are looking for orientation or ways to find a meaning in their lives, and teaching about how to live well, all of which is in our gospel, our scriptures, and the teaching of the church. And we are building up a circle of friends, lay people, who are interested in this and will be helping us. And we would like to see Kylemore for the future as a centre of Catholic life, supporting the recovery of the church and ongoing development of the church in this part of Ireland. So that's where we are at the moment. We need prayers and plenty of support from people who are interested in this, and people who will come here, visit and stay.
أما اليوم فقد أصبح دير كايلمور مفتوحاً لجميع الزوار والسياح، كما تم تجديد الكنيسة الصغيرة الهادئة حديثاً. كذلك استحدثت مسارات المشي على ضفاف البحيرة الجميلة، وعلى الرغم من كثرة زواره إلا أن هناك الكثير من المساحة لتكون وحدها كافية للتأمل بجمال وعطايا الخالق، والتي تظهر بشكل طبيعي في هذا المكان الذي يمجد عظمة الخالق ويسبحه على جميع مخلوقاته.